Let's finish off with the final part of our polyfill, and that is to fix this issue. So to make things easier, let me just delete the previous console log. And I just want to show you, if we console log this to the screen, what would you expect to happen? What do you think is going to be shown on the console? Well, let's have a look. Let's run the function. And there you go. It's the window object. Why is this? And what's even more weird, let's just clear this console again. What's even more weird is we put a break here and we start executing this. Let's run the function and look at these local variables again. Okay, the scope. I'm going to step through our code. We get to the array. Now we get to the for each function. So it's going to hop into our custom check. It's going to check whether the callback's not a function. It's going to pass that. And this is what's interesting, right? If I hover over that, when I use this keyword within the call, it refers to the array. But when we get outside, when we get to this console log, it actually refers to the window object. If I continue to execute this, we're stepping through. Now we're at this console log. We're outside of the for each function. And now when I hover over that, you can see that this refers to the window object. How weird is this? Doesn't make sense. Unless you know JavaScript, because it does make sense. And I'll show you why in a second. But before I show you why and get into the nitty-gritty of it, just take a step back and look at the different ways we've just executed functions. When we executed for each, we did that as a method call. We executed it as a method. But when we actually execute the function, the callback function, look how we do it. That's right, it's a regular function. We're not accessing a method before we call it. We're just executing that function. And it may seem on the surface that that's a very subtle difference, but it turns out this subtle difference causes profound effects. But let me show you why. Let me just jump to the other screen quickly and show you why this happens. I feel your pain. I know it can be difficult to get your head around this and what it should refer to at different areas of your code, but this is just a very quick high-level overview of this and why it's doing what it's doing. Let's just take an array example and let's create an array with 3 values in it, dog, cat, and mouse. And let's just set out our code here, the one that we've been working with our polyfill. And you'll notice when we go and execute that for each method, as I just said previously, that function is being called as a method. So we know this in this instance, a bit confusing, but we'll know that this will refer to the array in this instance. But when we get to our callback function, this is where things get very interesting. Because JavaScript handles this very specifically when it comes to calling functions and how they are called. When we pass a function to the for each method of the array, the value of this is the global object window. In other words, that function will be a method of the object window. And this is just the way that JavaScript works. When you have a function that's not being called as a method, then by default, that function is actually a method of the window object, or whatever the global object is depending on your JavaScript environment. For example, if you're running in Node, the global object isn't the window object, it's called, ironically, global. So we can say that it's kind of like the for each callback method is calling window.callback. And that's why when you use this, it's referring to whatever called that callback, in this case, the window object. Okay, so that's at a very high level. What's going on in the background. But the question you're probably asking now is, okay, cool, I understand, but how do we fix the problem? How do we define what this should refer to? What about if I wanted this to refer to my array, not the window object? And as it turns out, there's a very simple solution to that. Let's check it out.